This is the Ford Bronco RTR. It's meant to be a more accessible version of an off-road badass like a Bronco. We have the RTR signature hyper lime color in there. In this video, we'll hear from the chief engineer, the chief designer, and the founder of RTR, Vaughn Gittin Jr., about why they did some of these changes on this Ford Bronco RTR. Under the hood of this RTR will be the 2.3 liter EcoBoost engine. I know, the 2.3, this got people probably curious in the comments. I had a conversation with Vaughn Gittin about why he went the 2.3 over the 2.7 or 3.0, and he shared with me something that's really stood out to him as an off-road racer was about weight. The power to weight ratio of the 2.3, in his view, is better than the 2.7 and the bigger engines. Now, there'll be some stuff down the road where you may be able to do some performance upgrades. You can tune this 2.3 anyways, so you can get more power if you want it, but it's really about a weight balance as far as weight to power ratio. He initially ordered his Bronco with a 2.7, but after racing and doing different things, he really wanted the 2.3 for the power to weight ratio, plus it's cheaper. So we can get that price point down, let this be more affordable, because the spec vehicles they do in their factory come out to be really expensive. This will come out of Ford's factory, and they want something more accessible for the consumer to be able to purchase, plus, again, power to weight ratio as well. So there's a couple different factors going on with why the 2.3 was chosen over something bigger.
Our first mission was, in driving with Vaughn out west, immediate access to power is important. It's not so much about acceleration as much as maybe it is even weight transfer. You got to get that front end up on these whoops, okay? So how do we provide immediate power with a turbocharged engine that are famous for lag? So what we've deployed is our anti-lag strategy. It was race developed, race proven. It has trickled through some of the performance vehicles, as I indicated earlier, that we've worked on. It's certainly present in the RTR Mustang. And we're redeploying it here in Baja mode to provide that immediate access to power.
Yeah, so when you're off-road, there's many times, almost always, having that response is super important. And traditional turbocharged motors, when you lift off the throttle plate closes, the turbo speed slows down. So then when you go to get back on throttle, there's a little bit of lag that before you get that full power and response. And so like Ed said, putting in the software to keep the turbo speed up allows you to, in situations such as whoops, right? You're going through a whoop section, you got a big one that pops up, you need to lift off, but then you may need to, have that power to shoot over the next one. So that immediate response is very important. Obviously, entering and exiting turns, you want that millisecond of power when you're driving and pushing the limits. And this was a really, really cool feature that's very noticeable.
So another proof point, Johnson Valley's famous for the sand bowls, deep sand, so high engine RPM, low speed, fun to do once, but really not sufficient to do once. You want to do it all day long. So how do we provide sustained power? Again, twin turbo or single turbo engine, you've got to maintain power, can't get into D-rate situations. So for the first time ever in Bronco, we borrowed from our big brother, the Raptor, the 1,000-watt cooling fan. The result of this is from a sand performance and sand perspective, this will be the highest performance 2.3 auto in the Bronco lineup that we offer. It'll run for days. It'll outlast you is the mission.
Yeah, that's especially important, like Ed said, in the sand, but also for recovery. If you are out ripping, you are able to, at high speed, well over 100 degrees in the desert, the recovery time when you chill for a second is massive. And the slow speed, as Ed mentioned, rock crawling, the slow speed stand, all of those things, it's amazing to have that additional cooling capability.
Okay, so since we're talking with media here, I'm going to admit we've buried the headline. So the thing that I think we're really most proud of is, and you're going to have to use your imagination because it's not obvious looking at this variant, but the standard Bronco RTR and Vaughn will talk about why it was important to have a standard offering that was more approachable, is with our 33-inch all-terrain tires that are standard on the Badlands. As you may know, on the Badlands, when you start with the 33-inch tire, you get a narrower track width, you get the lower ground clearance. Our aha was the ability to take the capable or the high clearance suspension that comes with the Sasquatch and benefit from a track width increase that comes with the design of the wheels to offer in our standard configuration a high clearance, wide track setup that is very unique, completely unique to the Bronco lineup.
Yeah, and so from a driver's perspective, the clearance is massive. You know, it's close to an inch, and for breakover, you know, in the rocks, it is a massive amount. You know, you would need to put a 2-inch larger tire on a vehicle to get an inch of clearance. So it's really great. Again, almost an inch, not exact. And as far as, you know, being able to have that as our base offering, you know, this is effectively Haas 2.0 as the base offering, which for the accessibility of this vehicle and that is the huge thing. Like, to be able to get this vehicle in either trim, whether you want Sasquatch or not, to have that capability, to have the clearance, and the additional wide track is very noticeable when you're sliding around in the you know, sand, the dirt, the hard pack, and also the off camber, like any side tilt type stuff. You know, having that additional footprint offers a great amount of stability. So I was so pumped when we were able to add these as the base features.
But I do want to tie back what I said earlier about how we torture test these vehicles in Johnson Valley, and we like to break things and then we like to reinforce things so that you don't experience that. An example here, again, something you can't see, is the steering gear for this product is derived from the Raptor as well. It's not exactly the same part because the tie rod lengths are shorter, but otherwise it is the Raptor steering gear. And it's been proven through, you know, Raptor can carry a tremendous amount of speed through the off-road, through the whoops, everything else. So that's been really proven out in our most capable variant of the product. Again, deploying it here, we worry about it so nobody else has to.
Yeah, you know, this is the Bronco that I would spec. The steering gear is, you know, for the high loads, especially when you're tilted and you need to turn up something. Like Ed said, the high speeds, like you're not breaking this rack unless if you break that rack, you broke something else really bad. So it's really, really incredible. The passion we've been able to extract with the team and the mindset to develop what is the Bronco RTR.
So as I said, we can keep going and we will, because we've got some time before we launch this thing. So we'll get back together and talk more about some of the other highlights of the vehicle. But for now, I want to bring up Kelly. Is Kelly alone today?
She is.
Yeah, Kelly, our lead designer, to talk about what you're looking at.
Thank you. So when it comes to Bronco, we always want to be rugged, carefree, and trusted. And partnering with RTR was a really natural symbiosis of that. We worked very closely with their design team as well. So Lindsay Ross, the creative director at RTR, we worked on this hand in hand and made every decision together. And we really wanted to blend key elements of the Bronco identity along with key elements of the RTR identity. So we used their signature grille along with the hockey stick lighting. And we wanted to use color as a performance indicator. So you'll see their brand hero color, Hyper Lime, come up in the trail sight. So you have really great visibility of where that inside line of the tire is, as well as the lock capable trim rings on the wheels. We also included that Hyper Lime around the Bronco letters on the front grille. So you get a really good feature of both brands on the front view of the vehicle and have that bright, vibrant identity straight from there. Overall, this is the most expressive Bronco that we have in the lineup. I think we've had, you know, as the color person, I'll admit, we don't have a ton of color expression on our base vehicle. So this allows us to tap into that true enthusiast audience and offer something that's really expressive, a little bit polarizing and bold and expressive. On the hood, as well as the side of the vehicle, there are graphics. Some of those have Hyperline. There is a package that will not have the Hyperlime on it as well. That topography specifically comes from Johnson Valley, and going back to what was previously shared, on the Bronco side where we validate and test this vehicle, but also where RTR has become so dominant and so well known. We also included the square wheel arch fender flares on this, and it ties back to 4400 and 4600 trucks and the wheel arches that we use there. So we're really tying in that race to street perspective, making this very iconic and recognizable from a distance when you're on trail, but also on street when you're up close. So we won't share interior today. That's future stuff that we'll share later on in the year. But a lot of these elements that we included on the exterior were really seamlessly included on the interior. So keep those in mind when we release all of that. And I'll head it back over to Megan so we can wrap up.
Okay, so this will be coming out later on this year. We'll have some more interior stuff. Not showing interior today. Got more teasing to come. This, again, we'll have pricing. I said they're going to be wowed when pricing comes out. They said that's going to be a major part of this. So look out for pricing coming in the future for this. Be able to buy this version or a more base version if you don't want to do Sasquatch in the future. So that's what we have for you with this video of this Ford Bronco RTR. For more, check out videos up over here, website down below as well, pickuptrucktalk.com. As always, thanks for watching. I will see you down the road.